All right, sounds good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Q&A for the position of the Delegate of Diversity. One, I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for taking time out to come out to this Q&A that we're going to have. A few things before we get started. SBA presidents, ABA reps, and law student liaisons go on the record with the ABA and will be voting for 5 positions, including this one. This voting period will take place between April 7th and 11th. So I ask that you all be on the lookout in your email for an electronic ballot. Let's see. Visit the American Bar Association.org/groups/law students /about /leadership /elections to see the candidates' resumes and the position statements. All right, so this is going to be the format of the Q&A. Again, as Yadi said, this Q&A should not last any longer than 40 minutes, just give or take. The candidates will get 2 minutes to give an opening statement, introducing themselves and giving just brief remarks. After that, the candidates will be asked a series of questions that was pulled from the council and the assembly. Each candidate will have a chance to answer each one of the questions. We ask that you please limit your response time to 1 minute. Leftover time does not carry over. I will have Aubrey, excuse me, I will have Aubrey keeping time, as Yadi said, and we will randomly select who goes first, rotating who goes first for each question thereafter. All right, and then you all will give a 1 minute closing statement. After the closing statement, I'll remind you all again that the voter link will go live between April 7th and April 11th. So I would like to start with Ms. Precious. Um, I will give you 2 minutes right now to introduce yourself.
Hello, thank you, Jeremy. My name is Precious Taylor, as you just previously mentioned. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a current 2L student at Southern Illinois University Simmons School of Law. I'm very excited to be here with you guys today virtually. And prior to starting law school, I worked in the field of diversity and inclusion for a number of years, and I really enjoyed the work that I did. Just really developed a passion for representing those that were underrepresented. And some of the work that I've done entails working with small business owners in the community who were mostly minorities who had an interest in applying to become DBE certified. That's a program that's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification through the United States Department of Transportation. So my job was to help them get certified, walk them through the application process, but the other part of my job was actively managing federally funded contracts to make sure that the prime contractors who had agreed to work with the minorities actually adhered to the guidelines of the DBE program. So during that time, I learned a lot about just representing those that were disadvantaged, who fell into the categories that the program listed. And I also developed just a passion for, I like to say, representing those that were considered the underdog or those that did not have a lot of economic advantages as opposed to those that did. So I learned a lot about advocacy work. I learned a lot about working with community constituents, and I really became passionate about the work. And I like to always say, I am diversity, because I feel like diversity is not just,
Precious,
it's not just,
I apologize. So you're out of time now.
oh,
Because you all have 2 minutes each for opening. And I will also, if it
okay,
helps for you all, I'm gonna put when it's like 30 seconds in the chat for any
okay,
like response going forward. This way you all know like you can have a conclusion. So just monitor the chat. That would help.
okay, okay.
But
Thank you so much for that, Aubrey. Any final closing remarks that you have, Ms. Precious? I know you were just interrupted for 1 second.
Oh no, I would just really love to serve in this capacity. I feel like that I would do a really great job. I bring several years of experience with me, and I also bring a listening ear. And I'm ready to grow and learn from you guys as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Next, I will go with Mr. Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Jeremy. Good evening. And thanks again to everyone for chiming in or listening in. Alex Jacobs here, and this is purely a reflection of a personal journey of a religious minority refugee slash fugitive, and then definitely someone who grapped with invisible disabilities. So the vision that I have for the role is purely around 3 points. Number one, focus on disability and accessibility for folks with any sort of disability, and coming up with communications and consistent awareness across the board with all folks, and how we can make sure that everyone is aware and in the loop of what's available and maintaining that threshold or consistent level of awareness and services. That's point one. And point two, it's the true definition of diversity, and also that could be from race, ethnic background, religion, or whatsoever, whatever the case would be, and how to make sure that we ensure the the needs of everyone is met, and we are communicating in the right way and the right forum. One and two are definitely a top-down vision and hopes. And the third one would be a bottom-up, and that would be assessing and connecting with all of you reps and presidents, and to ensure what are the gaps, what exists across the board and on a daily basis, on a routine ABA discussions or ABA motions or approvals, what's needed, and how can we make sure that we can support the community both through the legal education and forthcoming in future as the legal career. With that being said, I'm available at linkedin.alexjacobs.ca, and happy to reach out and connect with any of you folks. And with that being said, Jeremy, over to you. So thank you.
Alex, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Next, we have Miss Brianna. How are you, Miss Brianna?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna McGee. I am a second year law student at Southern University Law Center, and we are living in pivotal times as a nation, moments that will define our future of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the legal fields. Now more than ever, we must continue to push to create spaces where diverse voices are heard, valued, and empowered. As Delegate of Diversity, I will work to ensure that these spaces not only exist but thrive. I aim to build upon the foundation by continuing for mentorship opportunities. Representation matters, and mentorship is a powerful tool that allows students from all backgrounds to navigate the legal profession with guidance, confidence, and support. By those strengthening these mentor-mentee relationships, we can cultivate a community that fosters success and belonging. Additionally, I want to be a listening ear for everyone. I'm not focusing on a specific race or group. I'm focusing on everyone who falls within the scope of diversity. I want to ensure that I am not only concerns, but I am amplifying their voices. That is my campaign, is just amplifying the voices of diverse students and ensuring that diversity is not just a conversation, whether we can continue the progress that's been made and representation, inclusion, and equity space and aspects of the legal field. I am more than welcome to share my social media as well as my email or contact anywhere for you to contact with me. I would love to hear you, and I would definitely love to present you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brianna. I appreciate that. Thanks. Those were some great words. I want to now just interrupt for 1 second, introduce myself because I had some technical issues early, and I realized into that I did not introduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy Henry. I'm chair of the Law Student Division, and I will be moderating this panel today with you all in this Q&A. So just wanted to put that out there and introduce myself to you all because I did not do that at first, but we will pick back up and I'll do a little bit of a snake order. So, Brianna, since you asked, since you answered the last introduction, I'll ask you the first question first. Is that okay?
That's
And
perfectly fine.
if I can
Okay.
cut in real quick, if you don't all mind, just to reiterate, if you can please like keep your responses to about a minute each. That's just kind of like the procedure. So I can let you all know about 30 seconds in the chat as well, but just wanted to give you that heads up again.
All right. Thank you so much, Aubrey. All right. All right. So, Miss Brianna, the first question I have is what previous leadership experience do you have within and outside of the ABA?
So within the ABA, I am not currently on any leadership board, or I do not hold any leadership boards, but at my law center, I am stepping into the role as the vice president of the Black Law Student Association. I previously served this academic year as the historian. I am also, that's a good question, Jeremy. I am also over the committee of, golly, the committee of inclusion, I guess you could say, for our Journal of Race, Gender, and Poverty. And that about encompasses all of the leadership that I currently have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. Miss Precious Taylor, what previous leadership experience do you have within and outside of the ABA?
So this would actually be my first role if appointed. So I don't have any experience within the ABA. However, outside of the ABA, I do currently serve at my law school on the DEI committee as a student, and I just started working with the committee, and we plan different events and talk about different policies and ways that we can help further the university's DEI policy. That's one thing that's recently been brought up. And of course, as I previously mentioned, I have several years of experience working in the field as a practitioner, working in DEI, and that's about over 6 years of experience working in DEI, and that is the bulk of my experience. Thank you.
Awesome. Alex, what previous leadership experience do you have within and outside of the ABA?
Thank you, Jeremy. It's safe to say that I'm a proponent of leadership with no title, and effectively, regardless of the title, everyone can bring some element into any conversation. But tactically, if I want to reference within my own SBA, I'm the unspoken, I guess, a spokesperson for my class, and I had the pleasure of doing that. But as a formal capacity, partly as also a mature JD student, I have actually been appointed by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the federal policing workforce for the Canadian government, as the diversity and inclusion representative for a good period of time. And along the way, within my day job, as well as the rest of my community involvement, I've had elements of leadership within supporting new immigrants with adoption to the community, as well as junior achievement for the rest of the community. I know Audrey came on, so over to you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you. So I'll pick up with the second question and I'll start with you, Alex, and then go from there. All
Sure,
right.
absolutely.
All right. So the second question is, what is an area of innovation beyond policy initiatives that you think the ABA Law Student Division should look into?
Jeremy, a clarification point, is that with the focus of purely diversity and inclusion or in general?
It could be in general or both. You can specify which one for your answer.
Okay, absolutely. So I do it in a two-way street, and it might come across as a buzzword. Since one of the points that I discussed is communication and awareness across the board and effectively ensuring everyone is aware of what is available. And Gen AI is one of the biggest points right now in every industry. I think there's an opportunity for us to bring all of our documentation from the website, everything, and feed into a chatbot that folks could come in with an actual question and ask, I want X, what should I find and where can I find and what is available? Effectively, an interactive agent that would help people to find what they want with the focus or not focus on diversity and inclusion, but help with the communication. And I want to turn it over to you before Aubrey give me the heads up on the timing. Over
Thank
to
you
you,
so
Jeremy.
much. Thank you. Ms. Precious, let's go. What is an area of innovation beyond policy initiatives that you think the ABA Law Student Division should look into?
Great question. So, one thing about me is I am a connector. I truly believe that your network is your net worth. So, if appointed this opportunity to serve in this capacity, one of my initiatives beyond policy would be developing opportunities for students to network with other law students and also with other firm owners who may be solo practitioners who may be looking to hire law students. So that's a wide range of how that could look as far as like in a program or implementation, but that's definitely my heart, is to connect individuals to resources and employment opportunities, because that's one thing that I am definitely and truly passionate about, and that's something that I have a track record of success. So I would love to bring it to the ABA and allow some of the students and practitioners to connect. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Ms. Brianna, what is an area of innovation beyond policy initiatives that you think the ABA Law Student Division should look into?
Thank you. So, like everyone else, I'm a connector. I enjoy just general discussion with others. So one area I believe we could improve on is creating roundtable discussions with maybe practitioners who were diverse or resembled diversity within their university, to come and discuss perseverance through challenging times. I think that would be a great way for us to all connect on one board, just across the board, on ways that we can get through this while we are in law school. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. That was great. All right. So we'll move on. And Ms. Brianna, I'll pick back up with you for the third question. All right. Kind of synonymous to the question that I just asked. What is the most serious issues facing law students that you would like to tackle within the ABA Law Student Division?
Involving law students, I believe. Oh, thank you for the question, Jeremy. I believe just having our voices heard is a really strong issue that we could amplify in the law student division. In addition to mentorship programs, I believe one thing we are learning to be, of course, is an advocate. And so as advocates, we have to learn first to advocate for ourselves. And so I believe that if we could tackle this issue, especially for our current law students, maybe we could all be having better experiences. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Moving on to Ms. Precious. Question is, what are the most serious issues facing law students that you would like to tackle within the ABA Law Student Division?
Excellent question. So I think for me, I think that would look, the issues would look different for every law student. But I think I'm going to say what I previously said, not to just be a repeat Larry, but because it's something that I truly believe in, and that is connectivity. I think that a lot of what I hear just from my peers here on campus is just not knowing who to connect to for what. So, connecting with SBA presidents and hearing what they have, what concerns their students have, and providing them with the connections and developing some sort of directory where people can actually reach out and get the resources with networking, with jobs, with roundtable discussions. Those are things that I'm very passionate about. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Alex, the question is, what are the most serious issues facing law students that you would like to tackle within the ABA Law Student Division?
Thank you, Jeremy. With the predominantly focus on the diversity and inclusion as opposed to the general council mandates itself, it's purely about the awareness and communication and also what is available and how to access it. While I do agree that the networking and mentorship and everything is immensely helpful, I'm also very pragmatic that everyone has a role and an area of focus. But within this specific DNI Council mandate, I'm purely focused on ensuring that awareness for those that either from an unrepresentative groups or from folks with any sort of disadvantage, they are set for success, have the right level of access, and they are able to easily and accurately find what they need. And with that being said, also open to feedback from anyone across the board, from the representatives and presidents. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Okay, we're going to move on to one more question before we get into some closing questions and position-specific questions. So this next question is, what is your understanding of the time commitment involved with this position that you all apply for? What are your other priorities and commitments for the coming year? And what priority will be given to your ABA position should you be elected? Mr. Alex, we're going to start with you for that one.
Thank you for that, Jeremy. I think we are all in it because we do believe in it, and there is something to be said about that. And particularly, I do not think this area is something that you would put a cap on it, either being 5 minutes or 5 hours. I use the model of the gym model, how whatever you put your heart in it, you would get out of it. So to explicit answer to your question, it would be the number one priority would be the focus of the council on the role. And the secondary point to that would be if someone makes a commitment, it's for you to honor the commitment and ensure that you are there. And if there is a change of events, change of circumstances, it would be wise to be aware and open about that and be forthcoming. Over to you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. Ms. Precious, the question is, what is your understanding of the time commitment involved with this position? What are your other priorities and commitments for the coming year? And what priority will be given to your ABA position should you be elected?
Yes. So my understanding just from reading the description online is that this will take about 10 to 15 hours per week. And this is actually really great for me because as I'm entering in
Okay, we are now back after a brief intermission, and we will be picking up with Ms. Precious Taylor with the question of what is your understanding of the time commitment involved with this position? What are your other priorities and commitments for the coming year? And what priority will be given to your ABA position should you be elected?
Thank you, Jeremy, for that question. So I want to first begin by saying that from my understanding from reading on the website, that the time commitment would be between 10 to 15 hours per week. And that works perfectly with my schedule for next year because as I complete my second year of law school and preparing to enter into my final year, I have a little bit more flexibility to, take on extra responsibilities. I know that there's also a requirement possible travel that will definitely be something that I'm able to do 3 year. And if appointed this role, it will definitely be a high priority for me that I will be willing to go above and beyond and do everything that I need to do and take out all the additional time that's needed to represent the organization to the best of my capacity. So thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. Okay, Brianna, I see that you're back. Are you with us currently?
Yes, I'm sorry. My connection is not that. So sorry.
No, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Okay, getting back into it. What is your understanding of the time commitment involved with this position? What are your other priorities and commitments for the coming year? And what priority will be given to your ABA position should you be elected?
Thank you. So my search approach understanding is that it's roughly 10 to 15 hours a week. However, I am willing to dedicate more to get the job done, of course. I do have priorities and commitments at the law center that I'm at. I am a pretty involved individual. The thing that a lot of people know about me is that where I am involved at, everyone gets the best of me. Just because I am involved in multiple organizations does not mean that I will slack up in the area. I'm really with dividing my time in a certain time where so to conclude, the ABA will receive my full attention. I am willing, more than willing, to give my attention where it is needed, and if that is with serving my constituents the best that I can, of course, I'm going to give my full attention to the ABA. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response, Brianna. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get into some of the closing questions for you all, and I'll continue the same order. So, Brianna, I'll have you answer some of the closing questions that we have. It's a little bit of a step away from the more Gruttons questions that we just asked before, more informal, more laid back. So the first question I'll ask is, what is your favorite life motto that you have?
Thank you for that question, Jeremee. So my favorite life motto right now is just to keep going. Times are tough. Of course, everyone knows that. Law school is hard. Of course, everyone knows that. But the moment that you just sit in the space that is holding you back, you will get lost in the sauce, of course. So I just like in my mind, I'm always saying, just keep going, because at some point I will make it through. At some point I will persevere. And that is something that I do like to share with my friends, family, uh, fellow students at the Law Center, my mentees, anyone that I can. I just try to give them uplifting word or encouraging words, and I always end it with just keep going. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Precious. You will be next. The question is, what is your favorite life motto that you have?
Thank you, Jeremee. So, one of my all time favorite life mottos is good, better, best. Never let them rest until your good is gooder and your best is best. Now, that's that's something that I've been saying for years, and I think it truly governs who I am as an individual. And just to piggyback on, being a minority and working in the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's always that push to be better, to do more. And that's just who I am as a person. I always feel like that there's always opportunities and room to grow as a professional. And that is the same mindset that I will take if appointed to serve in this capacity, to just keep working until a change is made. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that response. Mr. Alex, the question is, what is your favorite life motto that you have?
Thanks, Jeremy. Hard to call it a motto, but I would call it more of a mantra. Get things done. Don't forget who you are. Give back, and this shall pass on. And if I tie it back to the 3 points that I mentioned, it's effectively for the disability or accessibility lens. Give back as much as you could, but also remember that you have been part of it. And from a diversity part, as well as the communication part, the 2.2 and 3 that I highlighted earlier, we have challenges. And if we get to it, if we work on it, the challenges will move on and they will fixed and addressed. And that should be the part that I operate based on. So thank you, Jeremy. For you.
My apologies. Awesome. Thank you so much for that response. Okay, so I'll shift gears here a little bit and get back into some position-specific questions. Um, I want to know from each of you all, and Mr. Alex, I'll start with you on this one. Why is this particular job and not other LSD positions or the position that you applied for?
Absolutely. I think this was a journey of partly self-discovery and also an element of reflection and perspective from individual experience as being a person who was a religious minority, refugee, fugitive to a mature law student, and ultimately someone that has an invisible disability. And definitely it's an element of not about the role, but also giving back and sharing my own individual journey. And if along the way I could make something work, if I could along the way achieve something, that's the vision and hope that I have, as opposed to a job that I would have applied for. Hence, the other roles and positions was less of an interest to me because this is the one that I could have given from the bottom of my heart as a passion. Over to you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Precious Taylor. Question is, excuse me, and I lost the question. Excuse me. The question is, why this particular job and not any other law student division positions?
Well, the answer to that is quite simple. The first part of that is I have been dedicated to the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion for a number of years before starting law school. It's a work that I truly believe in, that I'm truly passionate about. And another part of that is I know what it's like to be underrepresented, as a minority woman myself, you know, coming from an underrepresented, disadvantaged background. I know what it's like to be underrepresented, and I know what it's like to have initiatives and programs set in place for those who are the minority, and that is not just racially related, but that's those that are disabled, those that are that are different genders. It spans from a far spectrum. Diversity is just huge. So I'm passionate about the work, and I believe that it's a part of my calling, and I know that I can get the job done. So that is the reason why I wanted to run for this position. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that response. All right, Ms. Brianna, you will be answering next. And the question is, why this particular job and not other law student division positions?
Thank you for that question, Jeremy. So I am the epitome of a diverse law student. As a Black woman from Mississippi, there are always challenges and struggles for my voice to be heard. Though I have not officially served in this capacity, I have assisted others. And even with the current research that I'm doing for my article, I'm constantly researching instances and issues that affect underrepresented and underserved communities. and ways to amplify their voice. So basically, I just want to do as much as I can to amplify voices that tend to go unheard across the board. It's not specifically for any race, any gender. It's anyone that is diverse in law school that is needing assistance with amplifying their voices, finding their way, pushing through. I want to be that person to do it, and I know that I can be that person to do it. So, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for that response. All right, one more question. It's going to be a position-specific question. So, delegates have a vote in the ABA House of Delegates. It is the policy-making body of the ABA of over 500 ABA leaders, in addition to ABA staff familiar with diversity. Can you elaborate on your experience with senior bar association members or high-level lawyers, officials, or executives? And I'll start with Ms. Brianna.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so sorry. So to answer your question, I have a lot of experience working with high-ranking bar members, specifically with the National Bar Association. I've worked with them last year through a mentorship program. Additionally, with bar members at my law center, I am constantly working with members or professors, attorneys um, at the law center to make things happen in a way. So I do have experience in that area. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. Ms. Precious Taylor, the question is, delegates have a vote in the ABA House of Delegates. It's the policy-making body made up of over 500 ABA leaders, in addition to ABA staff members familiar with diversity. Elaborate on your experience with senior bar association members or high-level lawyers, officials, or executives.
Thank you. So I want to first just, again, as I previously mentioned, working on the DEI committee at my law school right now. That's one experience that I've gotten that I just actually recently started, but also prior to law school, working for mayors and local city officials. I've had that experience. And that's been something that I think that has prepared me to work with high level execs and to be prepared to answer the needs or be able to assist them effectively. So I'm definitely not new to working with high level execs. I've been doing it for a number of years now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. Mr. Alex, the question is, delegates have a vote in the ABA House of Delegates, a policy-making body made up of over 500 ABA leaders, in addition to ABA staff members that are familiar with diversity. Elaborate on your experience with senior bar association members or high-level lawyers, officials, or executives.
Thank you, Jeremy. Full transparency, I probably have very limited experience with the actual ABA council or leadership or even a staff beyond perhaps this experience. However, as part of being a mature student, you have the luxury of life and life experiences. And prior to probably for the last 10 or 15 years, I have been doing mergers and acquisition, M&A advisory, particularly focused on very large mega transactions. And as anyone know, they are often the executives across the table, as well as very senior law firms and legal representation. And that could be an acquisition by Microsoft acquisition of LinkedIn or a Coach and Kate Spade acquisition, that if it's also a retail name. So I had that pleasure from working with them, and I'm already looking forward to the annual general meeting in Toronto coming up in this coming August to continue building that relationship with the rest of the folks. Over to you, Jeremy.
Okay, awesome. All right, so it seems that we have just about 10 minutes left. I'll ask you all one more closing question before you all do closing statements. and we will conclude after that. So our closing question will be, if you were a city, which city would you choose to be and why? And we'll start with you, Mr. Alex.
I selfishly, not because I've also went to Northwestern, I would pick up Chicago simply because, as my colleague Brianna mentioned, this role you need to be at the center of the universe for everything from the national association coast to coast. And Chicago does give the element of equal accessibility purely by virtue of distance to every part of the country. However, on top of that, it's a role model for blend of all different cultures, different groups, and every walk of life. Minus the wind and the extreme cold in the winter, Chicago would be my place. And for any of my friends and colleagues that are from Northwestern law here as well, kudos to you guys as well. I did an LLM years back at Northwestern. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for that. It was great. Okay. Miss Precious Taylor, if you were a city, which city would you choose to be and why?
Great question. So I'm going to answer this a little bit biased. If I can be any city, I would definitely want to be St. Louis, of course. And the reason for that is because St. Louis is cultured and we have so many different races from just people from everywhere. It's really diverse and it's cultured. You feel like you're at home. You can come to St. Louis and get involved in so many different fields. We offer almost every different field to work in, and also we get the job done. So when I think that that's kind of like who I am as a person, I always feel like St. Louis made me a hard worker, and my background being raised there by my parents, and it's a place that I love. That's really my hometown. So I would definitely want to be St. Louis if I were a city. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Miss Brianna, question is, if you could choose to be one city, which city would that be?
Thank you for that question, Jeremy. If I were chose to be one city, I would more than likely want to be New Orleans. As someone who was born and raised in the South, I just love the South. I think it's so much more to the South than what people know. New Orleans specifically has so much culture and diversity. To me, it is the central mixing pot down there. Only an hour away right now, but it is a great place to go and have fun, but also is so much happening in the city that is centered around care and uplifting its underserved and underrepresented communities. So if there's any place I would love to be, it would definitely be New Orleans.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that response. Okay, so we'll pick back up with you. At this time, we will do the closing remarks. I will start with Miss Brianna. You can begin your closing remarks.
And just to cut in, Jeremy, just to reiterate, it's about 1 minute each for each closing remark, just following standard procedure. So I'll let you know 30 seconds in the chat, and just so you all have a heads up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aubrey. I appreciate that. Okay, Miss Brianna McGee, you can begin your closing statement.
Perfect. Thank y'all so much. So, as we navigate through these pivotal times, diversity in the legal field is more important than ever. My campaign is about amplifying the voices of diverse students, ensuring mentorship opportunities continue to grow, and creating spaces for open dialogue, especially in challenging moments. I believe in action and listening and standing beside those who need the support. If elected as your delegate of diversity, I will continue to push for inclusion, advocacy, and mentorship, ensuring that no student feels unheard or unsupported. And together we'll make a lasting impact. So thank y'all so much for hosting. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you so much, Ms. Precious Taylor.
Thank you. So I just want to first begin by saying that I'm not going to make any lofty promises, but I will say this. I'm definitely committed to the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion. My career has been about representing those that are disadvantaged. Another thing I want to say is, if appointed this opportunity, I want to first see what the SBA presidents at their schools, what they need, because I have a lot of ideas about how I think I can assist them, but oftentimes you don't really know what's going on. So I want to get in there, I want to see what they need, and I want to work with stakeholders to get the job done. I don't know everything that they need, but I want to learn what they need so that I can accommodate them and serve in the best capacity that I can. So I hope to earn you all's vote, and I thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Precious Taylor. All right, Mr. Alex Jacobs, you are the last one to go for the closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. So, in everyone, it was a great 1 hour. And in absence of a grand platform, I would say there is a vision, and that is accessibility for as much as we could, I guess, for disability, regardless of the nature, and bringing everyone along in terms of inclusion, and also addressing the gaps are the three hopes that I have as a vision. And if all things failed, bare minimum, I have made great friends here along this journey, including Precious and Brianna, and also anyone else on this call, and those who I get to meet along this journey, that this will stay along for the rest of the legal education and career. And I welcome any touch points now or in Toronto or in future. aj@alexjacobs.ca is my direct email, and would love to hear back from you guys. And with that, Jeremy, over to you. Thank you.
All right. Well, that hereby concludes this Q&A. I want to thank all of the participants, all of the candidates. I want to thank Yadi, our ABA staff. I would also like to thank Aubrey for taking time out as a part of our Law Student Division Council to help us put on this Q&A. Yeah, so I just want to remind you all that again, this is the Q&A for the Delegate of Diversity, the SBA presidents, ABA reps, and the law student liaisons will go on record to be voting for 5 positions. One of those positions is this one. Voting will begin on April 17th through 11th. And I encourage each SBA president and ABA rep to be on the lookout for an electronic ballot that will be provided via email. So I hope all is well for you all, and I hope you all have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you all so much.